Friends, good evening. Welcome everyone to our Gnostic Lab of Practical Application. Tonight, our practice is titled Negative Thoughts. And this is an important practice because we are oversaturated with negative thoughts. And we must figure out a way to comprehend what these things are and how we can get rid of them. How can we control them, influence them? How can we bring about more happiness onto our days, not only to ourselves, but to others? And in his writings in the book, The Revolution of the Dialectic, Samael Aumveor says, when one knows the how and the why of the mind, when one knows the different functionalisms of the mind, then one can control it. Thus, the mind becomes a useful and perfect instrument through which we can work for the benefit of humanity. Wow. This is a tremendously powerful statement. It is not, how is it that we can learn about the functionalisms of the mind so we can control it to make ourselves happy, but rather, how is it that we can make our mind a perfect instrument so that we can work for the benefit of humanity? And negative thoughts. If we were to look at a distribution of the things in our mind that are using us to become instruments of suffering and misfortune and sourness for others, it would be negative thoughts. This is why we want to understand them. But the thing is that when we hear negative thoughts, well, the conditioning that we experience pretty much says, oh, negative thoughts are bad. Negative thoughts are, for example, violent. Or negative thoughts are thoughts that make me sad. Thoughts that are, for example, lust. Lust is negative. That's bad. You see, we tend to polarize these things from the perspective of good or bad. And this good or bad thing, it never existed until some men back at the times of Atlantis. Their name, Manitrora, and the other guy, Conversión, they were the ones who cemented these two polarities. They were the ones that, through their divisiveness, they helped polarize the minds in terms of what is good and what is bad. And today, the biggest problem is that good and bad, they are as relative as they can get. It's like morality. What is good today did not used to be good many years ago. So I'm going to invite you that as part of the exercise tonight, you open yourself to that which is new. And let's start looking at this thing, negative thoughts, as something that goes beyond this bad. Let's just delete the bad connotation from the negative statement. And knowing that Samael says gnosis exists in the etymologies, well, negative comes from a Latin root word back in the 13th century. These are the years 1200s. It's a Latin word that is negativus, and this means that which denies. And we can say, yes, well, that which denies, so no, but no. This denying has a very deep connotation when it comes to the mind. And when we look at the word thought, well, it comes from this ancient Old English word, excuse my inability to pronounce it, fengan. Well, this is something that is conceived of in the mind. So when it comes to negative thoughts, these are things that are conceived in the mind that end up creating a condition of denial. Wow, if we look at negative thoughts in this perspective, now we are contemplating at a whole different spectrum of things that we can look and appreciate. I mean, if we're not looking at it in terms of good or bad, but rather in a way that what contributes or does not contribute. If we are looking at what is it that is contributing in a way that is honorable, that is edifying, that is dignifying, well, now we can see many things that would fall into that space, and these are things that are worth pursuing. And things that do not contribute in ways that are honorable, that do not contribute in ways that are dignifying or edifying, well, now we can see a new perspective on this thing called bad. So know that if it does not contribute, if it does not add to make things honorable, or better than honorable, if it does not add to make something dignifying, if it does not add to make it essentially dignifying, well, then it is denying us of something. And this denying us of something is one thing that would be defined differently depending on each of our levels of being. So we have to figure out what this is. We have to look at what exactly are we denying ourselves of whenever we allow for the intrusion of one of these negative thoughts. Of what is it that we cannot partake when we embrace one of these things fabricated by the mind that keep us from. We have to figure out what that is. What are we depriving ourselves of every time that we allow these inferior thoughts to populate the mind? Dear friends, there are no words to state how important this is. Negative thoughts, they spread around worse than a virus. A negative mind is very infectious. And you already know this. You have seen this in the workplace. You have seen this at school. You have seen this at family gatherings. And you have seen it because either you have experienced it or because you have realized that you have been one of those contributing to those to that negative spreading of emotions, or perhaps both. If we are experiencing thoughts of suspiciousness, of being skeptical, that gives us an indication that there is something that we are being denied of because of our ignorance, because of, as they state in Buddhism, because of our obscurations. If you experience thoughts that are associated with doubt, lack of trust, lack of faith, well, that means that there are some elements there that are depriving you of an experience. If you notice those thoughts that are associated with ill will, thoughts that emerge because you simply cannot stand or seeing others enjoy the stuff that they have and you would like to see them just not enjoy it anymore, it happens. There are negative thoughts there. If you notice that you're experiencing those emotions of jealousy, emotions that could be attributed to vengeance or rancor or resentment, there is evidently something negative there that is depriving you of an experience. If you feel those emotions of hatred, propitiation, self-love, vanity, self-desire, self-consideration, evidently, those emotions are existing because there are thoughts that have flowed below the ability of your intellect to detect them. And as a consequence, the thoughts manifested, you did not even perceive them. The consciousness did not even notice them. And the emotion has already crystallized. Every negative emotion has a negative thought associated to it. And every negative thought is associated with its own negative thinker. And those thinkers are the different egos that we carry in our psyche. So thoughts, know that they are not just a product of spontaneous generation. Know that these are things that they just don't happen randomly. Causes, conditions are both present, and when that happens, the phenomena can manifest. So now, this should also expand your ability to understand dynamic in your relationships. I mean, now next time when you see that somebody is out there and they look like kind of pissy or kind of frustrated, and you ask them, what's going on? And they say, I don't know. It is true. Sometimes I don't know as much as the word fine. Well, they are used as some of the two lies that are most abused by us humans. But it is very likely that if they say that they don't know, that it is because the emotions they are experiencing were because of thoughts that manifested below the ability of the intellect to detect them. They did not even see the thought. They did not even perceive it. They are completely blind to it, and all they feel is that negative emotion. Friends, these psychological aggregates, they convolute our experiences. They taint our memories. Your best longings, your best sincerity, well, they affect all that. And to present something in a false light, to present something simply based on the conditionings of the ego, the product of an incorrect transformation of impressions that were being received. Keep in mind that the more you identify with these aggregates, the more you identify with these negative thoughts, and as a consequence with those negative emotions, the stronger these aggregates will become. They will continue vampirizing you and taking from those creative energies within you. Those energies will continue flowing through the wrong channels. And our goal is to safeguard that creative energy, bring it inward and upward so that eventually we can illuminate that brain. Later on, allow that light of the divine to fill our heart. So tonight, in our practice, we're going to relax the body, we're going to calm the mind, and as a consequence, the emotions. And we're going to do a little exercise in retrospection so that now, as you look back in your day, that you can look at your thoughts not in terms of good or bad, but what was denied in terms of that living experience? What did you miss? What were you not able to experience because those thoughts manifested? So because we're going to do that tonight, let's go ahead and start by relaxing, closing our eyes. Let's go ahead and sit comfortably on our chair and make yourself aware of the sensations in your physical body. Anything that feels tight, uncomfortable, whether it's your wedding band or your glasses or a belt or a ponytail, earrings, etc. Go ahead and take care of that so that it does not distract you. And while that happens, the rest of us, let's go ahead and take a deep breath in 1, 2. 1, 2. 1, 2. Dear friends, let's make ourselves aware of our emotional state. Whether you feel joyful, content, indifferent, fearful, sad, frustrated, numb, it is important that we become aware of that. because we know that there are always thoughts associated with the emotion that we experience. And we must fine-tune the ability of the intellect to perceive these thoughts. We must empower the consciousness to truly apprehend them, capture them. We also know that all these emotions are temporal, and they come and go just like the waves come and go, just like tides rise and fall. And knowing that they are temporal, we know that they are insubstantial. They're always changing. And it is better that we do not identify with them. To transform these emotions, look at whatever it is that you're experiencing and realize that there is an opposite that exists at this very same instant. And that opposite also has its potential to manifest. So if right now you feel very joyful, well, know that as the pendulum swings, later on we could be sad. And the idea is not to make you sad and steal your happiness, but rather just to know that we have to look at this joyfulness and the sadness in the same way. Also, if you feel frustrated, if you feel sad, we also know that we have an opportunity to experience some happiness. We know that there's also an opportunity to be altruistic. And when we contemplate these two extremes, we can reconcile our emotion. And if you allow yourself to perceive, you will notice that there is a lightness that manifests immediately on your heart. Enjoying this lightness with gratitude and gratefulness. Use your objective imagination and your willpower to see a circle of light that surrounds you. Imagine a circle of light that emanates from the floor, from the ground, and that it is a light that elevates itself to the many heavens. We empower the consciousness, and together we recite the mantra, Klim Krishnaya. Klim Krishnaya Govindaya Gopihana Vaya Vaya Swaha. And here within the circle of protection, we take a deep breath in 1, 2, and we focus our attention on our toes. We allow that attention to be the attention of the consciousness. And we focus that attention on our toes, our heels, our ankles. Our shins, our calves, our knees, the underside of our legs, our glutes, our hips, our creative organs. It is always delightful to experience that gentle sensation of relaxation. We experience it with a great deal of satisfaction. But we focus the attention of our consciousness at the base of our spine. And as that continues to displace itself upwards, we bring relaxation to our internal organs, to our stomach, our liver, pancreas, our kidneys, our diaphragm. And just like that, we notice that our breathing becomes so much more gentle, that the exhalations are so much deeper. We relax our heart, our lungs, our shoulders. And from there, we allow that sensation of relaxation to cascade onto our elbows, our wrists, our hands, and to even flow out of our fingers. Consider for a moment that there is so much abundance of relaxation that we can allow it to flow through us with no need of holding back onto it. And we can rejoice internally, feeling that gentle vibration that comes with relaxation, inundating all of our body. We bring the attention of the consciousness to the base of our skull, at that space behind the head and between the ears. And we allow that sensation of relaxation to grow and expand alongside the sides of our head. And we relax our jaw, our tongue, our lips, the muscles of our face, our eyes, eyelids, even the muscles on our forehead. And allow yourself to experience, just perceive how that relaxation continues expanding until it finds itself at the very crown of your head. Be certain that you can invoke your innermost, whether today or during the upcoming days, and ask your Divine Father to bring you back this very same state of relaxation whenever you need it. And together we invoke our Divine Father who is in secret by saying, Divine Father, Father of mine, you who are my true being, you who are my eternal God. We are here humbly at your presence, asking of you, begging of you with our soul and heart to officiate during this practice. Give us, Divine Father, the faculty of objective imagination so that we can see beyond the appearance of things. Give us the faculties of inspiration and intuition, so that our consciousness may instinctively perceive the spiritual reality of things, the significance of things, the reasons behind things. Help us in this exercise and allow us to see all of our negative thoughts. We ask of this in your holy name. So be it. And to further improve our memories, let's sing together the mantra Raom Gaum. As you continue breathing, allow that mantra to continue singing itself with the silent voice of your mind. And as that mantra sings, start an exercise of retrospection, revisiting from this moment backwards all the events of your day. Allow yourself to perceive your negative thoughts. Let's do this now. as we come across that very specific moment in the day where negative thoughts were most intense, we must understand the thinking process at that moment. Maybe it was thoughts of, this is interesting, or this is fun, or this is exciting. Maybe there were thoughts indicating superiority of us above others. Whatever the thoughts were, see them, perceive them. By now you can see from which one of the 5 cylinders this aggregate emerged. Maybe it was sourced from the intellectual center, or perhaps from the emotional, the instinctive, the sexual, or even from your habits. Having this depth of visibility to this aggregate, notice how it was prompted into action by the demon of desire, that internal Judas, craving impressions, craving sensations. See how it was supported by that internal pilot, the demon of the mind, justifying the activity, all along suggesting this is not a big deal. And also see the role of the internal Caiaphas, the demon of ill will. The one that simply moved everything to happen. The one that simply enabled the spark for everything follow through. Divine Mother, we invoke you with our soul and our heart. We ask that you help us eliminate the psychological aggregate. We ask that you help bring to an end this creation that was based solely on ignorance. We ask, Divine Mother, that you bring your flaming spear of arrows, and that you help reduce this defect to nothing more than cosmic dust. We ask, Divine Mother, that you bring your sacred fire, and that you bring it everywhere where we have used this defect in the past. At every level of our mind. We ask, Divine Mother, that you bring purification. And that you close all those doors to negative emotions. So that we may become a delicate instrument at the service and benefit of others. We ask of this in your holy name. So be it. Divine Mother and Divine Father, we give you infinite thanks for your contribution. And we ask that you give us the strength and the perseverance that is necessary to penetrate in the mysteries of life. Let's go ahead and take a deep breath in 1, 2, one and 2. And dear friends, with that, we bring an end to our practice tonight, which has been working to understand negative emotions. Dear friends, thank you so much for joining us this evening. May all beings be happy.